Welcome to Formula Botanica's webinar with Melinda Coss on scaling up your business, factors to consider. I am Gemma, I'm the school business manager at Formula Botanica. This is my first webinar, so I'm a little bit nervous, so I hope you'll bear with me. I'm just seeing the messages flooding in from everybody all over the world, Sydney, Wales, Bordeaux. So welcome to everybody. In case you don't know who we are, Formula Botanica is the accredited online organic cosmetic science school, and we teach now almost 3,000 students in 113 countries. And as of December 2016, we're also an award-winning school. Before we move on to some essential webinar housekeeping, I just wanted to mention that we're going to be opening our International Organic Skincare Entrepreneur Program for registration again on the 30th of March. And that gives you an opportunity to purchase all 8 of our courses at 30% discount. For more information, you can drop us an email at hello@formulabotanica.com. Or you can check out our website, formulabotanica.com, sign up for our newsletter and get our free masterclass and get some more information on our courses. Okay, in terms of webinar housekeeping, just to let you know that my name will appear as Lorraine Dahlmeyer on the chat, and that is not the case. Lorraine isn't here this evening, but we haven't been able to figure out how to change the name. So it will come up as Lorraine, but rest assured it is myself, Gemma. There will be a replay of the webinar that will be emailed to you tomorrow. This is time sensitive, so you will have 1 week in which to listen to it. And for Formula Botanica students, this will appear in your webinar library, so you'll be able to listen to that whenever you like, with all the other webinars that we have available there. This webinar does say it will only last for 2 hours, but it's only going to be for 1 hour. That was a slight error. So we'll be on now from 6 till 7. Can I please ask that everyone tries to post their questions, if you have questions, in the Q&A box rather than the chat box. Chat is just for general chat, but for Q&A or questions that you would like to ask Melinda, if you could post it in that box, because the chat box moves so quickly, I'll lose the questions otherwise. If you have any technical issues, we will try and help you, of course. The webinar is in the format of an interview with Melinda, and I hope to be able to get to all of your questions, but as I'm only human, I might not be able to do that. But this webinar is for you, with you, so we would encourage you to be as interactive as possible. So without any more delay, we want to say a massive welcome to Melinda Coss, our friend and natural skincare consultant and mentor extraordinaire. And we're going to get straight into talking about factors to consider when scaling up your business. So the first question I wanted to ask Melinda was that people come to Formula Botanica to learn about formulation, but should they really be considering building serious businesses?
Hi, hello Gemma.
Hello
everybody. There's loads of people on here from all over the world. How exciting. I've found someone from Bordeaux, which is just down the road to me when I'm at home. Thank you for having me. Yeah, let's get straight to that question, because it's probably the most serious question of the whole lot. I, as you know, mentor lots and lots of skincare entrepreneurs, and a number of them come to me thinking that because they love making product, that they should scale up and start a business. And there's absolutely no doubt this is an absolute fabulous industry to be in, and it's growing day on day, and especially the organic side of it. But there's a great difference between enjoying making skincare, even being passionate about making skincare, and running a business. They are two very, 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 very separate skills. And what I would say to people is that they start at the end and they look to see what they really want to achieve. So if my first question would be, do you want to start a business or do you want to start a skincare business? Because if the aim is simply to make money, or to work for themselves, or to leave a job, or because they're unhappy in the job, whatever, it isn't. I'm finding more and more that it isn't always the case that they should go into skincare. Not if skincare is their hobby, because they're going to lose a lot of the pleasure of making stuff. So before you do this, right before you do this, look at all your life skills. Look at all the things that you've achieved so far. Look at all your passions. Look at what you actually want. And that's before, because otherwise you can invest a fairly substantial amount of money. I mean, it costs, any business costs money to set up. But you really need to know that you want this, because it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment to actually go for it. So look at all those pieces first and then decide whether or not you want to run a business. So that's absolutely the first point. If I'm working with people, I'm actually far more interested in the entrepreneur than the product.
Okay. Because
I would take it as read that the product is going to be fabulous with all these great skincare queens and kings, if you like. But it's the entrepreneur and their ability and wish to actually get out there, do the work, do the marketing, build the foundation of their business. Because the whole key is identifying what your product should be, who you're going to reach, determining your niche, sorting out your branding. All of this stuff is huge. Each of those are huge pieces, and they really need to be fully understood to build the basis of a solid business. So that's key. So I mean, there's a famous saying which says, don't look at what you want to give your customer. Look what your customer wants to buy from you. So that's important. And another thing that people should look at in their own lives before determining their niche and who they're going to sell to and whatever is what connections they've got, and to really determine what their best route to market is.
Okay.
So someone might know, amongst they might work in an environment which is full of politicians or lawyers or anything, and you can usually find a niche within a group, within your social group, that you can talk to authentically and easily. So that's a good starting point. If you simply have a crazily bright, clever idea for something that you don't think has been done before, that's a good basis for a business. So what I'm really getting to here is, I want to make skincare products because I love making skincare products, really isn't a solid base for a business.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what are the key success factors to consider then?
Well, I think the first thing is the differentiator, because there are an awful lot of products out there. So you need to have a different message. You don't necessarily need to have a different product, but you need to be able to have a way of presenting your message and your product line that people are really, really going to buy into. So that's getting harder all the time. I mean, it's being done. There's some fabulous small businesses out there that have, a lot of your guys have grown their businesses, but it's usually around a very, very key differentiator. So that's number one. Number two would be the route to market. Any possible endorsement for your products, anybody that you know that could, if you have if you're a chemist, if you're medical in any way, if you happen to know a movie star or a football star or a football star's wife, or anybody like that, somebody that will, in the early stages, if you don't have the credentials yourself, some situation or person that can help to promote your credentials and why you're doing this. So that's really about your brand having a story. Now, the story could be I don't know, you're a world traveler and you're fed up with products that you know, open in your handbag or whatever. So there could be lots of stories about your traveling, and you could create, for example, a niche travel range. So if you can build a story around what you're doing, that will lead to success. That's about having a hugely good grasp of social media, building on Instagram, building on Facebook, building a community around you. But that's really a success factor. Knowing who your end customer is and being able to talk in your end customer's language, that's also key. So it could be difficult for somebody who was targeting mothers and babies who didn't have any babies and had never been pregnant. I mean, it's, you know, it's authentically identifying with who your customer is, and that can often come through a journey in life that you've been through. Realizing the commercial aspects of a business and how important the bottom line is and the money side of it is, and understanding that you cannot build a business without money. I mean, my theory is that what I normally say to clients is that they need to feel that they can access at least £15,000 in the first year, okay, to cover creating a small range, packaging it, having it formulated, testing, and marketing it. So you don't have to have £15,000 in your pocket, but you need to know, you need to expect that over a period of time, that's what it's going to cost you. And because it's such a relatively large investment, especially for people that you know, are struggling, that's why I said right at the beginning that you really need to know how strong your passion is, how much you want this, and how you really want this to be a business rather than a hobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Am I rambling on here?
No, it does make sense. It does make sense. We've got a couple of questions coming in.
Okay.
About what you said. And one of them is, as a small scale business, what do you feel is the most effective route to market?
I think that it's really important in the very early stages that you get out there and market yourself and see the whites of the eye of your customers' eyes, because that sort of feedback is incredibly valuable to you. I think that internet marketing is obviously the most cost effective, but it won't provide you with volume, and don't expect to open a website and they will come. Build it and they will come really doesn't work. It doesn't.
No.
You know, it takes at least 6 months to gain any sort of traffic or traction on a website. It's a good idea to affiliate yourself with other beauty websites, and there's quite a few out there, and to sell via them. So in terms of cost effectiveness and growing slowly, I would say that the internet is probably the best way. The next way would be to put all your effort into this. There's no getting away from it. You have to put all your effort into creating a superior brand, and then fighting hand, tooth and nail to get a high street mainstream store as a flagship store, and working in partnership with them, or I mean, almost giving the stuff away so that you're associated with them and that they are your shop window.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second way. I mean, it depends to some degree on the product, because there's lots of distributors that you could go to, small chains of retailers that you could go to. There's a million ways to sell a product, and there's plenty of novel ways as well. But I think that answers that question.
And that actually leads into the next question, which was would like to know your views on scaling up sales via distribution. How do you select the suitable ones? And It says, surely they will all pitch, but will they deliver?
So I don't understand that. They will pitch, but will they deliver?
Will they deliver?
Will
and
who
I guess
deliver?
that's a difficult question to answer. The distributors. So let's stick to the first part of the question. And then, what are your views on scaling up sales via distribution? How do you select suitable ones?
Well, quite honestly, in this day and age, you're unfortunately with retailers, with distributors, with contract manufacturers, which most people who listen to my webinars know I'm very keen on, they are selecting you. You have very little chance to select them. Your story has to fit in. They're going to be approached by lots of different companies to carry their ranges. So you have to convince them that your range is going to sell. So, these are quite, I spend 16 weeks covering these things and squeezing the facts in. There is an awful lot that you need to learn before you start spending, but there are some key distributors out there that specialize in natural products or organic products. You should look at the other products that they're supplying and the stores that they're serving. So you want distributors that have got independent new distributors in foreign countries. It's quite difficult to know. It's track record, like everything, chicken and egg, it's track record.
Yeah. So we've got one more question before moving on to the next section is, how do you compete with other large organic companies?
You don't compete. You never compete. I found a saying I can't find it. No one is you, and that's your power. Okay. So, for example, this came up today in a group webinar that I did. People are often frightened that they're going to be copied, that somebody's going to undercut them and sell similar products at a cheaper price. People in reality don't make buying decisions based on whether something is cheaper or whether it's, in fact, one of my course guys was saying that they were selling a Chanel equivalent fragrance in Lidl's, in Lidl's for about £4.50, and it smelled better than Chanel. That's a case in point, because what people are buying into is your brand. So if your story is strong enough and you've done the base work and people love your story and they want to be associated with you, you don't have any competition.
Okay. So it basically comes down
if you go in fearful of everything that's around you, you're not going to get anywhere. You really have to be so sure that your stuff and your brand are beautiful and wonderful and effective, and you have to sell that story.
Okay.
So that's look, the difference between success and failure is how much you believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In everything in life. If you believe in yourself, other people will believe in yourself. If you show doubt or even feel doubt, people can smell that a mile off.
Yep, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Which is why I'm so strong on, with my clients, we do an awful lot of work on mindset, because you need to understand yourself. You need to get rid of all your fears. You need to understand your attitudes around money. There's a lot of things that you have to build in to become that entrepreneur that's going to win.
Okay. Did you want to carry on talking about the other success factors?
Yeah, sure.
Consider, yeah, and then we can.
Okay. So we said knowing who your end customer is, being customer led. It's important. So you could start with one hero product. You can have as much success with one hero product as you can with a range of 50. But what I would advise is you don't start with more than 5 products anyway. And then from that point, you build your customer base on those products. And then from that point, you go out and you ask your customers what they want. And you're led by your customers. You should never, again, we're in this fabulous position where we can reach the world. So you should never impose stuff on people. You have so many resources for actually finding out, Googling, looking at what questions have been asked, establishing what people are really interested in, what their problems are, what their concerns are. This is an art. This is about learning how to handle social media, etc. But being customer-led in everything you do, in the way your copy is written, you know, your customer is not actually concerned about you. They're concerned about what they need and what they want. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then, you know, once you do that, you can establish what the perfect range is for you and your customer, and you'll have loyal customers for life. Yeah. So the key success factors, differentiators, route to market. It's all very well creating a range of products. Too many entrepreneurs enjoy that process, the creative process, and they don't think about enough about how they're going to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so right from the beginning, you should have a plan. The question before was very sensible. What's the most effective way to get to market? You should have thought all this through, and you should do this before you spend any money.
Yeah.
Okay, existing customer endorsements or buyer support. We touched on endorsement. End customer, knowing who they are, making sure that your brand is customer-led, having a story, and that I think, and being an entrepreneur that understands that they have to constantly watch the bottom line.
Okay.
Making, you know, good business is about making money. There's no bottom line. And another thing, you know, stop thinking. There's a lot of people that say to me, I've got a dream, you know, I want to run a skincare business. You know, we'll stop looking for angels and start looking for angles.
Okay. I mean, the questions are flooding in, actually, Melinda, and we've got some good ones. One of the questions I'm very interested in is, someone has said, you mentioned that finding a niche. I am from a minority ethnic group. Would targeting my products to only black skin hair be limiting my audience?
Never. I think that's absolutely what you should be doing. In fact, you should even go narrower than that. I mean, I think that's a wonderful. I'm working with a couple of people that, one doing hair, one doing skin, that are doing just that. The narrower you are, the more. Again, you've got to remember that you can reach the whole world now. So whereas there might be a very small community of Eskimos in Luxembourg, you know, if you want to reach Eskimos all over the world, you've got the ability to do so. And if you're talking just to Eskimos, forgive me if there's any Eskimos out there. I'm really not being racist, but if you're talking to them, they'll hear you. You're making them feel special. And you don't need many customers. You don't need to make that many customers feel special to build a superb brand.
Yeah. I've got another question here. When I approach a flagship, do I have to have a customer base already? So do I need brand recognition already?
It depends how convincing you are and what sort of salesperson you are. Whenever you talk to stores, contract manufacturers, anybody a lot bigger than you, you need to big up. You need to put on your big girl's knickers, and you need to bullshit. Really, you know, again, they, you know, people, those sort of stores have a lot of fears about small companies because they have to baby them through. You don't by nature understand the process. You know, if you find yourself at a big chain, the paperwork, all this stuff is a course on its own. So they're scared that you're not going, if they commit to you, you're not going to deliver, or you're going to fold next week or whatever. Yeah. So again, it's about communicating your belief in the product and communicating that you're going to grow a big, substantial business. So you need to talk, again, it's reality, not dreams.
Yeah.
But you need to talk about all the opportunities that your brand has, all the market research that you've done. You need to, if you're talking to a store, you should have a good understanding of what they're looking for and why. You need to do some research over what sort of customers they're trying to get on board. And you should show that the buyer that you've done your research and you know about their store, and you should talk to the buyer's problems rather than selling your product. Address the buyer's concerns and problems.
Okay. We've got a couple more questions. One is about how can you effectively and affordably test the quality of your product before going to market?
When you say the quality of your product, if you're talking about formulation, I'm not talking about formulation today. That's Formula Botanica talks about formulation. If you're talking about whether or not your product will sell, if you want to verify your proposition, there are some neat little tricks that you can. We were going to go on to that. There's some neat little tricks that you can play with. So, one thing to remember is that a lot of people will tell you that they love your products. They'll use them, they'll try them, they'll tell you that it's the same people that tell you ought to go into business quite often. They'll tell you they love your products. However, the real test is to get them to actually click buy.
Yeah.
Okay. No, really, I mean, you've got a brand when people are prepared to part with their money for it. And how do you do, the question is, how do you do that before you've invested in contract manufacturers and you've got your manufacturing done? That's, it seems impossible. Well, one way to do it is and it covers another question that I'm sure a lot of you have, is how can I get funding for my business? Would be to start a crowdfunding campaign. Because for a crowdfunding campaign, you have to do a very persuasive video presentation, put yourself out there, put your brand out there, and then you're asking for money in exchange for product, or you're offering product at a discounted rate. So that's one way of seeing if people will actually, apart from the fact that you can get money that way, for your business, it's another way of actually verifying your brand, because you can see whether people have actually been prepared to spend money on it. Yeah. Another thing that you can do, that's a bit cheeky. I don't know if I'm even supposed to say this. I got to be really careful here. You can create a landing page with your product on it, and you've got to build them. I can't go into how you build lists and whatever. This is part of what I help with, but we haven't got the time. I'm talking 100 to 1 as it is. But you could build a landing page promoting one product. You could put it out there as a Facebook ad with your strap line and your message and the price of the product and a button to click and buy it. And when they click and buy it, you're sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The product doesn't exist. You're sold out. But the fact that they've clicked and bought it, and all the data that you can get from that one Facebook ad, will give you a pretty good idea if you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. And just on the verification thing, because I think it's a biggie. Sending out, once you've got your range, or you want to introduce a new product into your range, sending out sample sizes in exchange for postage only, so that nothing is more convincing to people than to have a product in their hands. But that can be cost effective. That's a very cost effective way of advertising and of building your mailing list and of verifying whether people like something that you're thinking of introducing. And direct face-to-face selling at a venue is another way. You don't have to have launched the whole brand. Of course, a lot of this depends whether you're going to be making yourself or whether you're contract manufacturing. But if you can access a reasonably small amount of product, just go out there and sell it.
Yeah. I know that you've mentioned your program a couple of times now, so let's talk a little bit about that now before we get on to other questions. So do you want to explain a bit more about your 16-week program?
Sure. So I run a 16-week one-to-one mentoring program, which involves me keeping you accountable and making sure that all those base steps are covered. It's 16 one-hour Skypes with me, one a week. It's there's some quite heavyweight modules that you've got to do and fill in, so that you get to know yourself, and we determine exactly what your brand should be. Now, I've got to say, I mean, I've had 2 clients in the last group who, after the first 2 or 3 modules, we've taken them off skincare and we've set up alternative businesses for them.
Interesting.
So I can, you know, I'm not going to push you in a particular direction. I'm going to identify what you should be doing. Hopefully it will be skincare, but if I don't think it is, I'll tell you.
Okay.
And we'll work on something else. So that's the program. Now I'm only taking on 5 people this round.
Okay.
Because you're such great friends, there's a great Formula Botanica discount at the moment of £225 if they book a discovery call with me before the 17th of March, because with 5 people, and I think we had 1,200 register on here, we should hopefully be all sold out by then. I will not work with anybody unless I am pretty sure I can help them.
Okay.
I turn more people away than comes. That's how it works. It's a lovely position to be in, but that's how it works.
I just wanted to encourage everyone to try and stay on till the end, because the details of the offer and the link where you can buy the program with the discount will be posted up.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Melinda some other questions now because they're flooding in. I've got a question here. What do you think are the key pieces of capital equipment for a small scale startup to consider?
When you're talking about, is this a manufacturing business or capital equipment to what end?
Maybe we should ask some more details.
Yeah. I mean, my stand is that apart from in the very early stages, if you're confident and you want to formulate your own products and you've got some wonderful ideas as to what those products should be and how to make them, that's absolutely brilliant. But going forwards, I strongly advise people to outsource the manufacture.
Okay. Simply
because there is enough involved in building a business, building a brand, marketing it, selling, accounts, record keeping, ordering, distribution, all these things that you really do not want to be stirring a pot.
Okay. I've got quite an interesting question here, actually. It says, when do you think is the best time to think about selling outside the UK?
Soon as someone approaches you.
Okay.
No, I mean, I believe in you don't often get opportunities. You usually have to create opportunities.
Yeah.
And that should be your mindset through the whole building process of your business. So if you're in if you're doing the best way to get overseas distributors is to do a trade show, and they'll come to you. And as soon as you feel that you have the production capacity to serve large volumes, because a lot of countries, China, Korea, not China actually because of the animal testing, but certainly Japan, Scandinavia, they do order in large volume. So you need to feel that you can fulfill the size of the orders. But there are plenty of companies that start in the UK and actually do a lot better abroad than they do in the UK.
Yeah, interesting.
So explore, don't turn away opportunities, explore them, but be sensible in your exploration. If the numbers don't stack up, if it means you've got to expand dramatically and you're not ready to, don't do it.
Okay. It says, how do you get a foot in the front door with retailers? It's quite interesting because we get a lot of questions about retailers, and
okay. Well, first, the first thing you do is you put your foot in the front door. that's the first thing you do. Look, if you have a great retailers, sometimes, well, the big retailers take a lot of their leads these days from bloggers and from social media. If you've got a great social media campaign, you've got a great Instagram page, the chances are that they will come to you. Okay. Or at least you've got somewhere to point them to show that there is awareness around your brand.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of key. So you can build a profile for yourself, newsletters. You've got to identify who the key buyer is that you need to talk to. You can do that via LinkedIn. Amuse them, thrill them, surprise them. Don't send them boring emails about how moisturizing your product is. It doesn't work. Do something outrageous. Get yourself noticed. Be the purple cow. Yeah.
Okay.
On this, just and that's how do you get yourself? If you're in a social situation, how do you get people to notice you? How do you make friends? Treat this business as a person. Yeah, it's the same thing. You want to attract like-minded people, whatever. Think of it, humanize it in your creative journey.
Okay. Trying to go back, we've got so many questions flooding in now. One of them is, do you think it's possible to build an only online business or an online only business?
Well, Love Lula did it quite well, I think.
They did very well, haven't they?
It depends how much money, how much money you've got to invest and how much money you want to earn. I think what you have to remember is that the origination of your products is going to cost you a fair bit of money. I mean, the testing and as we've said, but it depends. If you're formulating yourself, probably $2,000 a product. If you're not, probably $5,500 a product. So you've got to sell a lot of products to justify that.
Yes.
So in the early days, yes, of course you can start an online business, but I would advise you to ensure that your pricing structure is such that should you choose to go to wholesalers and distributors at a later time, you have the margin to do so.
Okay.
That's another big mistake. People sell online much too cheaply, and then a big opportunity or export opportunity comes up and they haven't got the margin that they can offer.
Okay. I'm trying to get back to that other question we had earlier about the capital equipment. So they were talking about trying to answer very small scale and want to manufacture at home, ideally. So what would key pieces?
I'm not even going to answer that. No, look, what, tomato ketchup fillers, tea urns, I don't know. There's a million ways that you can improvise, but it just isn't a good idea.
Yeah, no, okay. What's your advice for beginners? How important is writing a blog, for instance?
Very important. Yeah. Having the first most important thing is knowing who you are, knowing who your brand is, and getting your message and knowing what your message is. And from then on, it's about engaging people with your message and building a community around you. So you should start that well before you've got your products on the ground.
Okay. It says here, I like the idea of creating a team and doing the manufacturing in-house, as I would enjoy more of a community feel to the business. Is the solo entrepreneur outsourcing manufacture the only success model?
No, but it depends on, if you look, creating a team was the key word there. I have no problem with that at all. If you're thinking of creating a team, that's a very sensible decision. Okay. In fact, if you're thinking of building a business that you want investment for, or that you're planning to sell in 5 years' time. And these are all kind of decisions that it's useful to know about right at the beginning. If that, I'd said right at the beginning, what do you want out of this? So I'm telling you always to start at the end and work backwards. What do you want for your life? For your life, what is this going to give you? What makes you most happy? Generally, you know, that at the end. So, to sell a business, you need a team. Okay, you need to demonstrate that if you're not there, somebody can run that business. Yeah. So it's one of the first things a buyer would look at is the strength of your team, right? They hate, it's very risky to invest in a one-person business, hugely risky. So if you have the team and you have the funds to create a small manufacturing unit, and I don't know what part of the world you're in some places there's all sorts of angles to that, grants you can get for that. Maybe it's a social enterprise, whatever. If you've got the premises, I wouldn't do it at home for a minute. Absolutely, build a key unit. Absolutely. Okay. But you cannot build a successful business on your own.
Okay.
I know that nobody wants to hear that, but name one truly successessful business that's been built by one person on their own.
No, it takes a team. I mean, it's something that we know.
You've learned. Formula Botanica's learned that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even I've got a team.
Yeah.
I've got Alison. It's, you know, and also you'll get things done more efficiently. You'll get things done twice as fast, and you'll grow twice as fast. So if you invest in experts, be they employees, consultants, outsourcing, whatever, your business can grow at a great speed and be solid. If you try and do it yourself, you know, and stumble through, you're setting yourself you've got rocks on your back before you start.
Okay. I have a few questions for you directly about asking if you offer a short program rather than the 16-month program.
I don't. And the reason I don't is because I found that people were coming to me, they'd sort of started and they just had very specific areas that they wanted me to deal with. And I can't give advice where I feel confident they're going to be successful.
Okay.
Because I only take on 5 people and because I'm an old lady now and I do this because I want to get a lot out of it. I can't look at a business I'm very happy to do a health check on someone's business.
Okay.
But I'd much rather be involved right from the off-go so that I know that all the base work has been done properly, including the mindset work.
Okay.
So that we've got the best chance of succeeding.
And do you offer any private mentoring or is it just through the 16-week program?
Well, the 16-week program is private mentoring. It's one-to-one. Okay. Absolutely one-to-one.
I have let me just have a look at some of the other questions. Oh, it's an interesting one. What should be the mindset of a beginner organic skincare formulator? How does the successful entrepreneur think?
I want to make a lot of money. Look, there's a lot of reasons that people want to build skincare businesses, and they're all incredibly valid, and I wouldn't knock them for a minute. I mean, you might have a skin condition and you've created a product and you know that it helps that skin condition, and I get a lot of people coming to me saying they want to share that because they know it will help other people. Absolutely, it's more and more with organic products, this is the case. You might want to give work to people. You might want to, you know, in your community. There are lots of philanthropic reasons for starting a business, but the most successful entrepreneurs I know have got their eye of following the money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very unfashionable. You will be told to follow your passion and follow your heart, and you have to do that as well. You have to do that as well. But your eye always has to be, business equates to earning a living. And often people forget that because they get, again, it's the angels and the angles. They get so tied up with their passion that they that's not given the priority that it actually needs.
Okay. Interesting question is, may I sign up for Melinda's program if I'm in the very beginning stages? So beginning the formulation class would be the first step.
I would rather you signed up right at the beginning before you spent any money.
Okay.
Apart from the Formula Botanica course, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. No, really, because as I say, sometimes I will, if you can answer the question, if your answer to the question, do you want a business or do you want a cosmetics business, is I'm not sure, or perhaps I want a business is more important to me. By the time we've worked together, we may well be going in a different direction. I mean,
okay.
I've been running a group course and I've taken one lovely lady off who's now going to become a coach. And another lady I'm mentoring is actually creating animal products, not human products, because her whole world was involved in animals, but she hadn't seen it. So, you know, I would rather work with people right at the very beginning of their journey.
Okay. All right. That answers quite a few of the other questions that have come in. It says, do you take international mentees? I'm from the US.
Everybody's from all over the world. But the key in my mentoring program is we have a half-hour discovery call, which is completely free. And I get to know you. I'll ask you some very key questions. You get to know me. We have to decide if we gel. Because if we gel, there's no limit to where we can go. But if there's a misfit, then I won't touch it.
Okay. I mean, quite a few people are saying, what happens if you've done the brand work already? Can we speak to Melinda for guidance? I think you've answered that already, haven't you?
Yeah,
that you would...
I mean, if you've done the brand work and you're happy with the brand work, I'd like to look at it before I decided whether I was going to take you on. Or you've got to be, I would ask you if you would be willing to change it if we decided that in the bigger scheme of things, that would be the sensible thing to do.
Okay. Just to mention this, some people asking about how you sign up for the mentoring session. We are going to be posting the offer details shortly at the end of the webinar. I'm going to take a couple more questions and then we'll sort of wrap it up. One of the questions just come in. It says, Melinda, do you think that an international brand is more productive rather than a national and then a traditional brand?
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I think productive in what way?
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they're asking an international brand is better so that it's more international rather than just looking at a brand that would be targeted for an individual country. I think this person is maybe from Romania and asked a kind of question around this.
So look, you target your, I mean, we would talk about that. That's an issue for branding as well, and language, whether you plan to go international. If you have the opportunity to go international, you go international. But you can go international with the smallest village brand. So again, I've got a client on my group program who's from a small seaside place, and the whole, you know, this magic, it's the story. We talked about having a story behind the brand. So the story is the wonderful botanics that grow in her region and how she's using those. And that's a world-class story. People want to discover something interesting and new. They want to discover it. They want to discover your brand.
Okay.
So it can be small and be big.
Okay. One more question. It says, what if I'm not ready to start mentoring now? When will be the next intake?
The next intake will probably be July.
Okay.
But it will probably, my prices, I'm getting nearer retirement, so I'm taking less clients each time, and I'm charging more money each time.
Okay.
Yeah, it will probably be July.
We're going to be posting up the details of the offer now in the next couple of minutes. So if you look in the offer box, you'll see that an offer will come up with the details of the affiliate link. I know we just had a question saying, if Melinda only takes 5 people at a time, what are the chances to be able to get onto her program? I think it's
Do you
difficult
believe in
to
yourself?
say.
Does she believe? This is where we come in again. You know, who's the competition? If you believe in yourself, then I'll believe in you.
Okay.
You might talk to me. I'm pretty brutal. You might talk to me and decide you don't want to work. I can't work with that woman. But you know, it's give it a go. Book a discovery call. Let's talk.
Yeah, just get talking. I mean, there's quite a lot of testimonials on Melinda's site from lots of different people, including Formula Botanica students. So you can get a feel for what's involved. And like she said, book a discovery call and get chatting. You might love her, you might not.
It's good practice for seeing a buyer, really.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Good practice.
Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up now. The details of the offer should be live. Yeah, it should be live. So if you click on the offer box, you'll be able to see it. And that if you click on the sign up button, it will take you to the offer. I just wanted to say one last time before we sign off about our entrepreneur program, the flagship program that we launch twice a year. Will be open for enrollment again on the 30th of March. So that's an opportunity to buy all 8 of our courses at 30% discount. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. We had people from all over the world. It was quite amazing to see you all signing in. Thank you for all your questions. I'm sorry if I didn't get to all of them. I am looking at some of the chats now. Where is the offer box? I've just posted it up, so it will be there now. The offer box is right at the top near the chat boxes. So where you can see the chat box, you'll see at the end there's an offer box there. Just to say again, a reminder that the replay will be emailed to you. The links will be in the replay as well as Melinda's details. Melinda, do you have, where's the best way to get hold of you if they had any further questions?
If they just go, if they go onto melindacoss.com, and sign themselves onto my mailing list. We hardly ever send out mails, so you're not going to be bombarded.
I know.
But that would take you to right at the bottom of the page is my PA's.
Okay, cool.
Alison at Melinda Coss, ALLISON, or me. Melinda at Melinda Coss. Yes, it's. I'm easy to find. We also have a business Facebook group, which, if anybody, it's Melinda's Business Masterminds, I think. Okay. If you search my name, the Facebook group will come up. Which you're welcome to join. Forum. Yeah.
And you can also find Melinda's in our Skincare Entrepreneur Mastermind group on Facebook as well.
I'm there too.
So thank you, everybody. And just to say, if you want to stay tuned for more webinars, we'll probably have more with Melinda, as well as other special guests. We're going to be doing some interviews and interesting ones on crowdfunding. So stay tuned and sign up for more information via our website, formulabotanica.com, for our newsletter and our masterclasses, and you'll get all the information about our upcoming webinars. So I think that's it from me. Thank you, Melinda, for joining us and giving us your time.
Lovely to be here, and you've done so well for your first webinar.
I was really nervous.
She needs a round of applause.
I can see the chat box is saying, "Oh, you did well, Gemma," so I feel better, and I hope it's a good one. Okay, all right. Good evening, everybody, and have a great rest of your night. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.